Hello and welcome, everybody. It's Coach Action Jackson, and I'm here with another episode of Client Success Stories. I got my man John here. John is a rock star. He crushed the 16-week program, and in just 16 weeks, he lost 20 pounds, 7 inches off his waist, increased his strength score by 200 points, and his brother just went through the program as well. They crushed it together. They're both in the Hall of Fame now. John, congratulations. I'm so proud of you, but welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Jackson. Really appreciate it. That was quite the intro there. Again, John, I'm 36 years old. I live in Freehold, New Jersey. Just finished the first 4 phases of the program. Super excited with the results. Like Jackson said, my twin brother had completed the program as well. So we did have a bit of a friendly competition going, and we're both just super excited with how things turned out. And I can honestly say, one, it's been the most consistent I've been with exercising in my entire life, and 2, most consistent I've been eating wise, my entire life as well. So the way you laid out the program, the way you kind of motivated us and laid everything out for us was second to none, and I'm extremely grateful and super happy to be here.
Well, what's interesting, was it you that signed up first, or was it your brother that signed up first?
Yeah, so Phil so the story, I got my tonal first, and I found you first. And when my brother copied me and got the tonal, I turned them on to you on the tonal for your programs. And then he was the one who actually found, you offer this type of personal training online. So he did find you first from that aspect. And then, of course, I had a copy. I couldn't let him get in too much better shape than me. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So great. Yeah. I signed up your brother, and then I get a call, and it's like, hey, my brother just signed up and I can't let him beat me, so I got to sign up now. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then, so you joined. Was the urge to want to join just because your brother was joining? Like, I guess, where were you at mentally, physically, emotionally, all that stuff before you joined? And then what was the trigger point to get you to want to jump in?
Yeah, honestly, I probably had the tonal for about a year before I joined, and it was just mostly like on and off, right? I would do some of your programs, I would never like finish them completely. If there were 4 days a week, I'd maybe do 3 days, and have some roll over, and just a lot of inconsistency, and I was looking for some more guidance, and just the eating, I never really tracked my my macros before, and my eating before, and I know that's a big part of it too. It's not just about working out. So just, right before I signed up, I was at my heaviest that I've been in a few years, and I know I needed a change, and my brother knew he needed a change too, and again, I think by him signing up, it just kind of lit something under me where I had to do it too. That's kind of how that played out.
Got it. So you had the tonal, you're working out, you're doing some of my programs, you're just not super consistent with it, you're not dialed in. And did you have a plan for your nutrition or your eating, or was it just kind of like trying to quote unquote eat healthy?
Yeah, it was trying to eat healthy, right? But not really tracking. So I'd go to like, Trader Joe's and the grocery store and like find some things that like looked healthy, but not really looking at the nutrition facts, not really looking at the carbs and stuff like that, and I think probably I was eating a lot more carbs than I was eating on your program. Because even though some things look healthy on paper or just from like the box, or even if they're low calorie, they might have a lot of carbs in there. So just wasn't really tracking. And that's now over these past 4 months, like I said, I've never tracked like this before. And I think the results speak for themselves.
Absolutely. So when you were doing the whole eating healthy thing, did you understand how to even read nutrition labels? Like, did you know what that stuff was? Did you understand macros, calories, any of that stuff? Or was it all pretty much, black box for you?
Yeah, I really just look at before this more just looking at calories and like protein, right? I just knew like if you're working out, you need a lot of protein. So I would just try to keep the calories like reasonable, like under 2,000, and just try to eat as much protein as I can. And then everything else I didn't even look at. So like carbs, fats, that kind of thing, healthy fats, greens, like I wasn't really eating either. Drinking water, I wasn't doing. So at a high level,
All the
you
boring
know,
stuff that actually works, huh?
right, exactly, exactly. So I thought I knew what I was doing, but I really didn't. So
And I guess before you joined, was there an awareness that, hey, there's a gap here, not just physically from where I want to be to where I kind of am now, but did you realize the gap of education, knowledge, and sort of skills and habits, or was that something that you weren't aware of?
yeah, I wasn't really too aware of it until I signed up here. I mean, I after I signed up and I got that meal plan from you, and I saw like how detailed it was, and like every week is different, and just like the science behind it. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought it would be that detailed. So it really wasn't something I was aware of. I mean, I knew like again at a high level that 80% of it is, and I don't even know if this is true. 80% is in the kitchen, 20% is actually working out. But I didn't know how much actually went into that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nobody knows exactly what percentage is working out, what percentage is the nutrition, what percentage does mindset play a role. Like we know these factors play a role. We have our what we call our four pillars for six pack success, which is training, nutrition, mindset, and accountability. But what percentage do all of those play? It's really hard to say. But I would say you'd be hard pressed to find a strength or a personal trainer or any type of coach that would say that nutrition is less than 50%. And I've seen people that would argue it's as much as like 70 to 80%. So I'll just throw out there, just say, hey, it's probably 60% just to give it a round number, but we know it's important. It's just as, if not more important than the exercise. And I would argue more important. So it plays a huge, huge, massive role. And most people have no plan for the nutrition. They have a bad plan or they have an unrealistic plan. And a lot of people do the unrealistic version where it's like, I'm just going to do keto. And it's like, are you planning to do keto for the rest of your life? Because if not, then that's a bad plan. That's an unrealistic plan. Or crash diets. Well, that's unrealistic as well. So what we did with you is set you up with a plan that you can leverage for the rest of your life. So it's not a diet anymore. It's just your lifestyle. It's how you eat. And that's the most sustainable way to get to your goal, but to maintain the progress that you've had, right? So as you're kind of going on this journey, right? So you get the diet, you start dialing in the workouts. Was it the accountability or what made you adhere to things at a much higher degree than you were previously?
Yeah, well, and just touching on the diet really quick too. Like I think you hit the nail on the head when you said sustainable, because I mean, there's plenty of days now, especially in the later phases, where like I'm like, geez, I have to eat. Like, I have a hard time getting all the food in because like you think when you're on a diet, right? Like, especially before doing this, like a crash diet, like you're starving most of the time. But here, it's like you didn't realize how much you can actually eat if you're like eating healthier things, right? You can eat a lot, and a lot of times I'm too full to actually finish, but you just have to do it to get everything in. So like as you go on, I mean, the first phase was rough, right, with the lower carbs and stuff like that. But I found it amazing how some days it was just hard to get everything in that you needed to eat. So I think answering your question, I think that played into it, right? Like not starving, not feeling like hungry all the time. When I've dieted in the past, that's been the deterrent, and then like falling back to just eating unhealthy again. So I think the
Yep.
sustainable meal plan was a huge thing, and then I think just the accountability, right? Like having you reach out, having Mike and then reach out, right? Like just from the accountability standpoint, there's people that are watching you kind of and like making sure that you're getting this done. And then just going back to my brother as well, like we text each other after every workout. So he texts me a picture of when he finished his workout for a day. And if I haven't done it yet, I'm like, oh man, I got to get on that. So I think just having an accountability partner as well is huge. And even today, like, he texted me yesterday that he finished his workout, maybe around noon. And I'm like, all right, I got to get mine done soon. So just having an accountability partner like that as well. But I think more it's again, it's sustainable. Um, the workouts are fun, it's enjoyable, right? Like you feel like your body's changing when you're doing it. So I can't wait to get on the machine. And then again, the diet as well. It doesn't feel like a diet, at the end of the day. It's
I love that.
lifestyle change. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge piece. As you mentioned, in the first month, we always go a little bit more aggressive in the first month to build that momentum and build that nice foundation. And then we make it a little bit easier, taking advantage of psychology along with the diet as well to make sure it's sustainable. And then I've heard this so many times, Jackson, do I have to eat as many calories as you're recommending? Because it's kind of a lot where if you make it where you're starving yourself all the time and you feel hungry all the time and it's so uncomfortable, you're not going to want to continue to do it. It's kind of like these personal trainers when they do these free sessions, they just pound somebody into the ground thinking that's going to get them to come back because you're going to show them that, oh, like you need this so much because you're so weak. And it's like, if you make somebody so uncomfortable and put them through so much pain, they're not going to want to continue with it. And that's not going to be a good approach. So you want to put somebody in a slight amount, just enough discomfort to cause the result that you want to get the change, which does cause some discomfort, but not so much that it's unsustainable. You need that sustainable strategy. And what you do to get the result needs to be what you do to maintain the result, because this is a lifetime journey. It doesn't end. There's no top of the mountain, because as soon as you feel like you get to the top, there's another mountain that goes up. So we know we have to find a strategy to do this forever. So that's the first part. And then the second part, as you mentioned, was the accountability piece. And I love this. Not only do you have accountability from coaches and the people in the program, but you also had accountability from your brother, which was huge. And I can't tell you how many times I stress this, but when I hear people say, "Oh, I'm gonna, you know what, Jackson, I'm gonna do this alone. I got this on my own." And it's like, that is not a great plan or a strategy, because as much as we all want to think we're self-made people, it's pretty rare that somebody's self-made. Arnold Schwarzenegger has this famous speech where he says there's no such thing as a self-made man. You know, everybody needs help from other people. And I mean, I've invested tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands at this point, in coaching for myself, business coaching, coaching in terms of learning how to actually coach other people, nutrition consulting, like all of this stuff to learn to get to where I'm at now. And the reason I follow through on those things is because I'm investing in myself. I'm paying a coach. They're holding me accountable. I mean, even my wife holding me accountable to make sure that I'm pushing myself, that I'm getting up early, that I'm working hard, that I'm doing all these things. We will go further for other people than we will for ourselves. So if you think you're just going to go into isolation and do this all yourself, like David Goggins or something, it's like, good luck with that. There's only one David Goggins that I'm aware of. Most people do more because of others than they do for themselves. And I think that's a good segue to the next question, which is everyone knows, or at least most people who are watching this probably know my why. They know why I got into working out initially for my dad, then, you know, to try to find myself when I was in college. And then ultimately because my mom, seeing the suffering that she went through from a health perspective and passing away 2 years ago, far too early, all the issues that she struggled with. That's why I do what I do. But why do you do this? Why was this so important to you? What was the fire, besides obviously wanting to beat your brother, but what was the real deep desire and fire to go on this health and fitness journey and to lose the 20 pounds, the 7 inches off the waist, increase your strength score, have more energy, do all of these things? Why was this so important?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. Well, one, I just wasn't happy with what I was seeing in photos, right? Got to a point where didn't want any photos taken at holiday parties and things like that. And when I had to start wearing my suits again for work, I couldn't button the suits and the jacket wouldn't close, and I wanted to fit
Oh,
back into my clothes again, So I think that was motivation enough for me to get on this path. And health plays a factor too. Like, our dad is, he's extremely overweight. He's obese. He's had some health issues. So, I know that kind of thing runs in the family as well. So, that definitely, was in the back of my mind going into this. And, I'm 36. I'm, not a spring chicken anymore. And, I know, I got to start taking care of myself better. Like the older you get, the metabolism isn't there anymore. They start naturally running into barriers, right? And I think working out helps with that. And lastly, the confidence. Confidence is especially I'm in finance, right? And I'm a manager, I'm a leader, and I have to be confident a lot, right? Confident all the time. And if I'm confident in my appearance, I think that projects to me being confident to my my employees and I think that was a big part of it
Oh,
too.
I love that. That's so great. So one of the things that's interesting is it's not shallow to say, I want to look good because that makes me feel good and that projects out. I don't think that's a shallow thing at all, because we're not just talking about, oh, I need to look like a movie star, or I just want six pack abs because I want to take an Instagram photo on the beach. No, it's about looking at yourself in the mirror, feeling good about yourself, being able to put on your clothes, feel good in those clothes, and radiate that out into the world and take those feelings inside to everything that you do, all your personal interactions, the work that you do, everything. And I hear this time and time again from clients that I work with. One of my clients, he's a partner at a big consulting firm, and he just got a big promotion. And he texted me and he said, Jackson, I got this promotion. He said, I've been working on this for the past year. He said, I've also been working with you for the past year. And he said, I'm not going to say it's directly related. He lost 100 pounds working with me. He said, I'm not going to say it's because I lost 100 pounds, but losing the 100 pounds helped me feel so much more confident as a leader. It helped me feel so much better about myself. And it helped me work harder because I had so much more energy losing all of that weight, that I can't help but say that this is at least a good part in a reason, because I lost the weight and gone through the transformation. He's like, so thank you. And I'm like, dude, like, this is just overwhelming to even hear something like this. But it's so related to how you feel, how other people respond to you, the work that you do, the quality of the work, the relationships you build. A lot of this has to do with, it starts with how we feel about ourselves. And if we don't feel good about ourselves, how could we show up and be a good dad, a good husband, a good father, a good friend, a good coworker, a good leader? All of these things are related. So I love that you recognize that, and that you're willing to put in the work to do what's necessary to show up as your best and to lead people well. And that's just so awesome. And I want to just for a quick second touch on this. You mentioned that you had trouble with your clothes. You couldn't button the suits. You couldn't anything. Like, sometimes when people get in situations like that, they'll rationalize, right? Human beings are great at rationalizing and justifying. What made you not rationalize and justify to yourself, instead of getting into reality and saying, this is my reality and I need to change this? What for you allowed you to have that perspective? Because not everybody does.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I think at first I tried to rationalize it. I'm like, oh, during COVID, everybody gained weight. You're sitting at home eating a lot, that kind of thing. But I don't know, something just lit up inside of me where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fit in this. Like, I'm not buying a bigger suit. I'm gonna fit in this. At the beginning, like, I would literally put a belt buckle on and not button the suit, but just hold it up with the belt. And I really don't know what the driving force was behind that. I think it's more or less just like, hey, I was this size previously. Funny enough, when I got the suits, it was right before COVID, and that's when I was at my dentist. So I'm like, I got to get back there. I worked hard to get like that, and it's just all down the drain. I got to fit into the suit again, and that was the driving factor behind it. But going back to that, like when I was at my dentist, I was doing it in a very unhealthy way too, where I was probably eating like 1,000 calories a day, 1,200 calories a day, not really looking at the nutritional aspect of it. So again, that just going back to earlier where we talked about, I really had no idea how nutrition plays into things. But yeah, I think it was more just saying, hey, I'm not buying a bigger suit. I'm going to fit in this no matter what. And I made it happen. So
I love that. I'm doing this and I'm committed and I'm in. I love that attitude, because that is exactly what it takes to succeed. And the people that I do these interviews with that make it to the Action Jackson Fitness Hall of Fame, that do things like lose 20 pounds and 7 inches and all the stuff that you did. And I mean, the photos that you have are just incredible. I mean, your before and after photos are insane. They're so good. The people that get the results that you did, that wind up in the seat that you're in talking to me about this, they're people who commit, that say, I'm doing this no matter what. I'm in it, Jackson. I want to do this. I'm reminded of a client named Lawrence. Him and his wife signed up 2 weeks before Christmas, and we're recording this right after Christmas. He signed up 2 weeks before Christmas. And I said to him, I think maybe we should start January 1st because, holidays, Christmas, all of these things. And he said, absolutely not. Him and his wife were like, no, we're signing up now. And I was like, are you sure? Because I don't want you to set yourself up for failure. And he's like, look, the holidays come every year. We're going to have to deal with this eventually. So we might as well start now. And I'm so sick of living in the body that I currently have. I want to change, and I want to change beginning now. He's like, so we begin today. And I was like, great. I was like, this guy's either going to be an incredible transformation or an incredible disaster. And he ended up going on to lose 50 pounds in a year. And his wife lost 102 pounds in the next year. So the next Christmas, he was down 50 pounds. She was down 102 pounds. Just absolutely mind boggling. But that's the level of commitment that I'm doing this, no matter what attitude that you had. Like, just whatever trigger, whatever it is that kind of sparks that, ignites that fire in you, being able to make that decision and commit and go all in, that's what makes the difference. And the clients that I have that struggle, they're 99% in. They're one foot in, one foot out. They're committed on a good day. They're committed when they get full sleep. They're committed when all the things are going right. But they're not committed on the days when they don't get enough sleep, or when it's tough or difficult, or they hit an obstacle or anything else. And you were committed 100% no matter what. And that's why you succeeded. And that's why you're here. And that's why I'm so proud of you. And I appreciate you so much. But that also leads to the next question, which is, how did you overcome some of the obstacles? Because, and I talked about this with your brother a bit, the illness, getting sick. I mean, you had some things, difficulties. You got a very stressful job. You work a lot of hours. Like, how did you manage to overcome some of the obstacles that you did and still do so well in the program?
Yeah. So we, I had the couple illnesses throughout. I had the one from my nephews, which was honestly worse. Yeah, it was probably one of the worst illnesses I ever had. And then, the second bout with COVID, which was fine. But, when you're sick, right, I think at least when I'm sick, right, the furthest thing from my mind is you're a bit disoriented, right? And first thing from my mind is like, working out, right? But you at least want to make sure you're sticking to the diet and the calories and the carbs. And I said, like, hey, I might be off a little bit, but I at least want to stay under the total calories for the day and try to keep everything else in line as best I could. It's not, if you're not feeling great, it's not going to be 100%. I took some of your advice. I pounded some of the garlic with the almond milk and that kind of thing, which wasn't the most pleasant, but I do think it helped. And then I had the the immune pills from Legion. So, I think those helped as well. But never in my mind did I doubt that, hey, this journey's over, like, while I'm sick. And you reached out to me both times, right? And you said the same thing, like, this is a lifestyle change. Throughout your life, you're going to have roadblocks like this. So you can't let it deter you, right? So I knew it was temporary. And you guys were flexible, like you pushed the workouts back a week, right? So I think all that helped there, and just speaking with you and realizing that, again, it's just temporary. This is not like going to stop me from doing this. I'm going to get right back at it as soon as I feel better. That, that was motivation enough to get back into it. And going back to what you said, like the busy work schedule, all that kind of stuff, right? Because I won't lie, I mean, some of these workouts aren't like my max effort. Most of them are. I try to do max effort. Some are a bit lethargic, but you have to do it. Like there's a day where I didn't feel like working out. I just turned on the machine, took a little, pre-workout to try to get the energy going, and then you just do it. It's 24 hours in a day. The workouts are about 40, 45 minutes. You just got to get them done. Like, if you don't have time, there's definitely enough time, 40, 45 minutes in a day to get it done regardless of what your schedule is. So that's kind of how I approached it. And again, there's no turning back. Like you said, this is a lifestyle change, and I can't think about not working out moving forward. Like this past weekend with Christmas, I had one day where I ate pretty bad, and I felt like I knew the next day I was going to get right back on track. And I didn't feel too good the next day. So, it happens, but you just got to remember, you got to get back on track. And, these types of things are only temporary.
Wow. Incredible. That's such an important mindset. And I think that's such an important lesson you just shared. And for anyone who's listening to this or watching this, like, you have to comprehend what He just said, it's not going to be perfect. I don't feel like doing it every single day, but you just give your best effort that day. Even if it's not a PR, it's okay. It doesn't have to, every workout's not going to be a PR or a max. That's okay. You just get it done. You go through the process, you do the work. And the best part is, instead of focusing on perfection and having to be perfect the entire time, he was able to zoom out, look at the bigger picture, then narrow in on exactly what he had to do next and just get it done. So it's like, okay, yeah, I have this illness now. I'm sick. There's this obstacle, that obstacle, whatever it is. And it's okay, because this is not the end all be all. It's just not today. This is about changing my life. This is about a life transformation. And there's going to be obstacles, and I'm going to have to overcome them. So many people get caught up on, I have to be perfect when I'm going through the program, or I'm going through this journey or this weight loss. And if it's not perfect, forget it. Then it's just, let's go to In-N-Out or McDonald's and just slam a double-double. And that's such a terrible mindset, because they think it's either easy, or that you just got lucky, or that everything just aligned and all the stars magically aligned for you. And they didn't. You had so many obstacles that you had to face, and illnesses and all this stuff, and COVID, and you did it anyway. You were able to get through. You hit the pause button, you reset, you had a little bit of a tangent, you got off track, but then you pivoted, adjusted, and got right back on track, and you just kept moving forward. And I can't tell you how proud I am of you for doing that, because it's hard and not everyone can do it, but you did it. And man, I'm in awe of you right now, because you're such an inspiration to so many people. What you've overcome, what you've done to get here, the commitment, the discipline, the work ethic, everything you've done, man, you deserve the results you've gotten. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. I'm so stoked, because I know this is just the start of your journey, and you're going to keep going from here. So anything else you want to share, or anything else you want to say to people who are out there listening, thinking maybe, I know he did it, but man, I don't know if I can.
Yeah, I think this goes to like, not only this, but like, I always say this to people in my line of work too, is like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. With working out, like I said, this is the most consistent I've ever been in my life. I'm 36 years old. I probably was first introduced to weights in like 10th grade. They had like a weight training class or whatever it was, right? But I've never been consistent. I would start workouts, then I would stop. I would start dieting, then I would stop. This is the first time in not 36 years, but, first time in my life that I've been consistent, and it just works, and the support that you provide, Jackson, and your team, and, the diet, it's like so intricate that it's like hard not to follow. It's just amazing. This is the first time anything has ever worked for me. I've tried, beach body workouts. I've tried all that stuff. If you see things on Facebook, I probably tried it, right? This is the thing that worked for me. And again, I really appreciate it, and appreciate all your support. And I'm excited to keep going. I think we're going to do the legacy thing next, and see where that takes us. And it's only the beginning, and most importantly, again, it's a lifestyle change. It wasn't just 4 months. This is like 36 until I can't go anymore, So this is a lifestyle change, and I'm super excited to see where it takes me.
I'm so excited for you as well. Just an incredible story, my friend. Thank you so much for doing this. And what you mentioned as far as being consistent, I think one of the things that really drags on people, whether it's from a confidence standpoint or self-esteem or whatever you want to call it, but when you start and stop things constantly, when you start a workout plan and you don't finish, and you mentioned like, I do join one of your programs, but then I wouldn't finish, or I wouldn't be as consistent. It would take me way too long. Or I'd start a diet and then I don't finish and I don't follow through. You're literally programming your brain that like, I'm somebody who doesn't follow through. I'm somebody who can't trust myself. I'm somebody who's not reliable. And that bleeds into other areas of your life, whether you know it or not, whether it's conscious or it's not. And it certainly bleeds into your life and just how you feel about yourself when you're looking at yourself in the mirror. You get out of the shower, you look at yourself and how you feel about your body. And when you get consistent, when you start working out, you start doing what you say you're going to do. You adhere to the framework the dieting framework that you have, and you do make this a lifestyle change, and you're consistent day in, day out, getting after it, training your body, your mind, everything, you do start to trust yourself more. You start to build that confidence, because that confidence isn't built in a massive, huge, all of a sudden you have it. It's all the little steps. It's tracking your food today. It's doing the workout, doing the warm up, getting the ab stuff done, drinking the water, maybe doing a mindset exercise, joining a group coaching call, or having a conversation with me, like checking in, whatever. These little things all add up. And it's just one little vote, one little step at a time, going from where you're currently at to this new identity and this new person that you want to create. And you can do it. You can bridge that gap. You could become that person that you've always dreamed of, but you're not going to do it overnight. It's not going to be some big, huge, monumental big bang. It's going to be one little action at a time. And that's why we say action is the difference between dreaming and succeeding around here, because it was one little action at a time, and you took all those little steps, and you're still taking them. And again, that's why I'm so proud of you, my friend. So thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for sharing your story. And I can't say how much I appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you, Jackson. And I want to thank you again for your time here. And I couldn't agree more. One step at a time, one day at a time, even on the tonal, one pull at a time, right? Just focusing on that mind muscle connection. I think that goes a long way too. So thanks again, Jackson. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Think big, act small. Action is the difference, everybody. And we'll see you next time.